Yeah, it's definitely the time frame when you had like your dedicated like game shelf, right? Like that's when you really started. I mean, honestly, the last time that you started doing that like was up to like probably the 360. Kind of
Yeah,
after that,
360
after
was
that,
still
it really
pretty
kind
big
of
for
stopped.
yeah,
Um,
360 is still pretty big for buying
yeah,
boxes for sure. Because I was
but
going to like midnight releases and stuff. That's another reason I bought so many digitals. Like I can just sit here and preload the game and have it installed and ready. Like as far as consoles go, even
yeah,
PCs too. But like you can just you can sit there and have it just preloaded on your console at midnight and be ready to go at midnight rather than buying the disc and not getting home till 1, having to install for maybe 45 minutes, playing at 2 o'clock. It's just
yeah,
for a lot of the midnight releases, I just bought digital for that reason.
for sure. I
Mostly
mean,
when I'd like work the next morning or something on a midnight release, and you just want to get it's like worth just buying it digital just to have that extra 2 hours of time to play.
yeah, I mean the waiting in line for midnight release got old after I was like 15. It was once I like
Yeah,
had a job or was playing sports and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't really want to worry about it. You know. And it's
yeah,
quicker just
definitely.
to download digital. But anyways, like
It's
I really like Xbox and GameCube was like definitely the starter for shooters and definitely the starter for like when I started to take the game seriously and like be kind of like competitive about it. Because like Halo 2 was probably the beginning of that for me. Into like the Call of Duty series as well, which we can talk about in a bit. But like Xbox, obviously for Xbox, I had like Fable that I played a lot as well, and there was like Gears of War, and there was honestly there's a lot of shooters. I played a lot of shooters around that time. It was just really what my time was focused on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Play a lot of RPGs too, so like Final Fantasy, like 7, 8, and 9. I played them like a decent amount, but a lot of it, like once again, was me being really young and watching my brothers play a lot of these games. So I still enjoyed them. Like as far as like it's all the music and everything for those games is still really nostalgic for me, just from hearing it and watching them play it. And
yeah.
all the games, I still appreciate them a ton.
So I
And
guess
I
what's
still
what games have we talked about so far? So N64, what would be your top game off the N64 that you played?
probably, I'd say probably Super Smash Bros. Or GoldenEye.
Okay,
Definitely one of those two.
fair enough. I probably have to go with Ocarina of Time. I think that game's
Yeah,
probably just the best game I've ever played. Obviously, like for its time when I played it. Um,
yeah,
and then for PlayStation One, it'd have to be Final Fantasy VII for me. Like that's like my baby, which is
yeah.
like such a cliche answer. I feel like, but
Yeah,
it's
that
it's
game,
there.
Final Fantasy 7 or like Spyro, something Spyro probably
Spyro was awesome too.
for
Yeah.
me. Play a lot of
That's where
Spyro.
Harvest Moon was as well. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I played Harvest Moon on the Nintendo 64.
oh, okay. I played on PS1.
Yeah.
You know what else I
Um
played? There was some awesome like jam hoops games, like basically like street basketball games for the N64. What were they? Oh man, I don't even remember what they were called, but there were some basketball games for the N64 that were fantastic. Wish I could think of what the name was. Let me.
yeah, we had a pretty decent library on PS1 when we had a PS1 too. But I played a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater back in the day, believe it or not. Like tons of Tony Hawk games
NBA
years ago.
Jam. That's what it was. Sorry.
Oh yeah, and it kind of started on PS1. The whole Tony Hawk thing. I was
Yeah.
never like super into it, but we just typically had a lot of the games. Another game I liked a lot that was kind of like Final Fantasy was The Legend of Dragoon, which
Okay.
is really good. Um, I was talking to you about that game at one point just because there's like their limit break system in that game or whatever. So they're like their special was that you had to just spam square or something, and the more you spam square, the more damage you would do. And I don't think it had a hard cap or anything. So
Okay.
we had a turbo controller on PS1 that would just like you press the turbo button, then you just hold down square and it spams it as fast as you can during a quick time event.
Uh,
So we could just like one shot bosses with in that game with that turbo controller. It was awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of cheating, but it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it is cheating. But yeah. And then Xbox One, of course, Halo, like you were saying, Halo 1, Halo 2. I played a lot of Fable. Fable is still like my baby. Fable
Yeah, I
1.
played a ton of Fable. Mostly Fable
Yeah,
2, but a ton of Fable.
yeah. Fable 1 is really good. Um and Xbox had so many games too. So many games. That's like like I said, I just had such an expansive library out of, and it just feels like so long ago. Like I almost have to look up like the Xbox games list.
Time Splitters and Time Splitters 2.
Knights of the Old Republic was really good.
Knights of the Old Republic was solid. BioShock was on there as well.
It's 360.
Oh, that was 360. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What else do we got? Oh, this is terrible. I should have a list up.
Jade Empire, like Splinter Cell, Morrowind.
Morrowind, actually, I did put a lot of time in Morrowind, believe it or not. I was super young. When did Morrowind come out?
Yeah.
I definitely played it after its release date. Yes, I played it more like 2004, 2005. This game came out when I was 5 years old. I probably played it when I was like 7 or 8. But I put a decent amount of time in it. And it wasn't even for the combat. Like, I would literally just sneak and steal and break into people's houses and shit because that game was so fun. It was like one of the first games I'd ever played. Actually, it was the first game I'd ever played that had like so much access to like the open world and activities and just anything you wanted to do. Like, it was awesome.
I remember the day I came home and my oldest brother was playing that game. And I was just like asking him what it was and what it was like and stuff because I'd never seen a game. I don't think I'd ever really seen a game like that. That is an RPG. It's open world and first person. It was just so strange to me.
Yeah,
he said it was like kind of like Final Fantasy, and that's the only way he could describe it to me at the time because there was nothing to compare it to, and that's why it was so cool, and that's why I still remember it.
One thing I really can like honestly thank like certain developers for though, like like we love to shit on Bethesda now, and like everybody wants to be mad at Blizzard and stuff, but it's like games like Daggerfall and Morrowind and Oblivion, and then games like World of Warcraft and Warcraft 1 and 2 and Frozen Throne, like all these games are like groundbreaking when it comes to like the player experience, right? Like when you look at Morrowind, when that game came out, it was like, holy shit. Like, we can go all these places in a first-person experience and interact with all this stuff, and combat was pretty garbage, but it was like, we could still try to fight stuff. Like, it was insane.
Tend to have a good combat
system in this game. And crazy good character creation for the time as well, and like, it was amazing. It was cool. And so much dialogue. Like, just, you could literally have 150 hours worth of questing material that like still had content that someone had created. Like, that was what was crazy. Instead of it just being like generated maps on Galaga that you're grinding or something like that, right? Like, it was insane. It was just crazy.
And then yeah, I mean, I pretty much played everything on Xbox, honestly. Like, most series. I mean, there's a few series I didn't. And then from there, you and I both kind of moved onwards towards Xbox 360. I personally didn't have a PS2. I played some so we actually, like, in the next generation of console, I didn't get an Xbox 360 right away. I wanted one so bad, but, like, both my little brothers wanted a PlayStation 3 at the time, so that's what we ended up getting. And that's when I ended up catching up on like all my PS2 games. So like Final Fantasy 12, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, the Ratchet and Clank games, stuff like that. That's when I played all those, was a whole generation later, backwards compatibly from the PS3.
I gotcha.
And then we got an Xbox 360, which was great. 360 was so good. After we got the 360, I never touched the PS3 again, honestly.
Yeah, I did play the PS2. I put a lot of time into Final Fantasy 12. Like, that game was my shit. Probably one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite RPGs of all time. And then like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Obviously, I played; those are fun. I didn't play a ton of Ratchet and Clank. Like, I had a friend of mine that actually would come over and he played Ratchet and Clank on my PS2 and like grinded the shit out of that game. But like, it just wasn't really for me. I think it's just like the lack of like leveling and like it was a very different RPG experience. It was more like a platformer, and I just wasn't really a huge fan.
Definitely more of a platformer.
Yeah, and so I just basically played exclusively RPGs on the PS2. I don't know why. Like, I attribute like the PS2 controller with RPGs because that's like all I played on the console. And then Xbox 360 was where like I just started playing tons of shooters. Like, I was on the grind on the 360. I mean, ridiculous amounts of Halo 3, and then I moved into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 a little bit, and then Call of Duty World at War, And then I grinded all the Call of Duties from there. World at War, I was pretty solid. Modern Warfare 2, I was pretty solid. And then Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 3, I was like, I was amazing at those games. Like I was grinding those games at those times.
Yeah, same here. And shooters really came into their own on the Xbox 360 because like MLG and stuff and Halo 1 and or not Halo 1, but like Halo 2 was pretty small, and it was Halo 3 was still pretty small, but like by the end of the Xbox 360 generation, like first person shooters competitively on consoles were crazy. Were insane. They're blowing up. Like Black Ops 2 and stuff is when it started to get definitely more noticeable and more big.
I mean, the Black Ops series really shot it into this limelight because the sales for those games are, I mean, ridiculous. That and Halo 3 was insane.
Yeah. And 360 is just an overall better console. It did what PS4 is doing right now. It just had all the exclusives. Like Xbox had a lot of the exclusives, unless you're looking for storyline stuff. But like at the time, the Xbox had just the better multiplayer exclusives. I think Sony did have better single player stuff at the time, regardless, but no one cared. But now Xbox lost those multiplayer exclusives too, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like my entire childhood was not my entire childhood. I guess like my gaming years that I grinded the hardest. Like when you think like, oh, you're 10 years old to 15 years old, right? Like that was entirely owned by Microsoft. Like Xbox owned that time of my life. Like I was on the 360 basically that entire time, and on the Xbox original before that. So it was just interesting to think about that. And then I moved to PC, and then now like Sony, like if you're a kid right now buying your first console, you're buying a PlayStation. Like you're not buying an Xbox, right? Like
definitely.
So, but no, honestly, yeah, shooters came into their own. Esports really started to become a thing. I started watching, this is like YouTube blowing up as well. Growing up on watching FaZe Clan and Optic and all these guys, and like literally like Nade Shot and Scump were like freaking my viral brothers that I just watched online. Like it was just this awesome thing as well. Like the expansion of YouTube and Twitch early on and getting to see that. Like I had a Twitch TV account right after Justin TV, and then like tried streaming a little bit, but never really did anything with it. Did a bunch of YouTube montages and stuff like that, right? But like never really got into it. But like I watched so much content back then. It was just ridiculous amounts of Call of Duty montages and Halo montages and machinima gameplay and clips and spoofs and stuff. And like it was just, I feel like it was a great time to be alive because you just got to see the beginning infancy of like video editing and whatever the phrase is for it, videography, coming to life in the gaming space. And like now you see, Team Liquid with their own production team that's making, the TL series and stuff, and then, the TSM series and everything. It's just crazy to me. But.
Yeah, YouTube was, I remember when I started getting crazy into watching just YouTube and just content creation. I was telling you, like, I made my Justin TV account when GTA 4 was coming out 2 weeks before GTA 4 came out because somebody was pirated the game or just somehow got it early and was illegally streaming it. But streaming was so early, like at the time, and just so new that nobody really even knew about Justin TV. And that at the time, Justin TV was for like you could do lifestyle stuff on it. That's pretty much what it was. It was just like people sitting in front of cameras just talking to it.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit now, but so I made that. Never tried streaming until like way later, which I still never really tried it. I just kind of did it a little bit. Never took it too seriously. But yeah, I remember when YouTube became a thing. Like I got my iPod Touch in like 7th grade or 8th grade or something like that, and I would start watching YouTube on my iPod Touch like 2 to 3 hours every night. This video game stuff was at the palm of my hands was crazy, and that's even when YouTube was just starting to become a thing and become really big, and the gaming side of YouTube blew up like crazy too. I think pretty much ever since YouTube's been around, gaming's been like the second highest viewed category behind music or something like that.
Yeah,
which is insane. I don't know if it'll ever pass music. Honestly,
it's really interesting to see too. Like,
medium.
are there really like really big. I'm unaware of this because I don't watch traditional TV, and I also don't have children, or like I'm not around people under the age of like 16. Really, I mean, honestly, I'm not around people under the age of 20, 21. Like no one under my
Yeah.
age am I around except for like my younger brother who's 20, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I'm curious. Like I grew up and had like X Play and what was the other game we were talking about? Oh my
Exploit
goodness,
like cheat and
Exploit Cheat, and then there was one more that was really popular.
screensavers or Attack of the Show.
Attack of the Show is what I'm thinking of. I watched a shitload of X-Play and Attack of the Show, right? There was like a lot of shows aimed towards us in like the early 2000s, like 2000 to 2008. Like there was a lot of stuff. So I'm curious, like, is there really that anymore? Like I know Disney XD will show some like Overwatch stuff here and there and stuff like that, but like, are there these? I'm curious if there's these game shows. I have to look into this because I feel like traditional media actually targeted us as kids really aggressively because there was that. Remember that there was like that original push in esports. I don't know.
G4 wasn't really targeted towards kids either way.
Not kids. It's I necessarily. I'm saying like young adults or the gaming
Right.
experience
But I
from a
think
traditional experience.
G4 is definitely considered like an 18 plus like show. Or
Yeah, a
network
few of them
series.
were pretty like Cheat, like we were talking about, is definitely tailored towards like older
Yeah.
teens or like early
People that
20s.
are
Yeah.
bored.
Yeah. We'll call it that. We'll call it bored and male and young.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'd say towards. Yeah. But like, I just don't see. I guess it's good to see. There's not like this. It was kind of a sleazy like take from traditional media towards it because now they're just like, oh, there was like this original neglect of it, but now it's kind of getting shoved in their faces. Like big venues kind of take over with esports and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it was just interesting to see how we were targeted early on, and kind of, I would argue how oddly we were targeted and differently we were targeted than the way it is now, than the way they try to do things now. Because like now you see like Walmart just signed to sell LCS jerseys. They're selling all 10 teams LCS jerseys in Walmart, which is like kind of
Nice.
wild to me. Like that's such a
Yeah.
weird thing, right? Like Walmart's doing it.
I wonder what quality. Walmart quality.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll take it. Like I'm sure you can spend some money and get decent stuff. There's probably going to be expensive. Probably some of the most expensive stuff in this section.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean it's interesting because I'd rather just have like as much as people hit rack like on IGN and stuff, I'd rather have them just put a lot of time and like quality and effort into a video than have some random trashy like just like show on XPlay
Yeah.
where they're just telling you strategies for a game. I don't know.
Well, I want a show that's like done by people in the space and people interested in the space and gamers, or at least people involved in the gaming industry in some way. I don't want it done by like some people. They go find an attractive girl and they say, "Hey, read this script and wear something that looks nice." Right? Like that's not what I want. I like it's much better because you can tell the guys at IGN and the girls at IGN are they're on the grind, right? Like they're still involved like a lot. They're going to events, they're playing games. Same thing with like
Yeah.
the Score esports you see, and like all these different esports outlets. Travis Gafford, like these types of people.
Right.
They do a lot, and you can tell they're entrenched in it because they're surrounded by these people constantly, and they're well informed and they're passionate about what
Grinding.
they're doing. Yeah,
Grinding it out.
on the grind.
But yeah, back to like just more about us. I mean, I know like when the Xbox 360 was out, that's definitely when I started to take things very seriously in gaming. That's kind of when I decided like that, or when I thought at one point I was like, oh, I want to make a career out of being like professional at gaming. Like I have the time to do it. Like I play tons every night of COD. I was going to like some tournaments locally with some of my friends from school and stuff, and we were doing decently well. But like I just didn't have a ton of like the support essentially from my family to like want to push me to do like professional gaming at the time. Of course, not many people do get that. They were pushing like going to college and everything, the typical route that most people take after they graduate high school. So it made it very hard for me to even go to tournaments and stuff because they didn't even necessarily support me going to tournaments because they knew it may turn into me wanting to even do more with that. So the tournaments were awesome. It's a feeling I miss. Definitely, there's nothing like beating people in person, as well as even like shit talking people in person a little bit is fun. And
Yeah.
not gonna lie, there was some of that, especially in COD. You wouldn't get that as much in different dynamics or different games, but COD, especially when I'm a sophomore in high school and I'm playing other kids that are that same age group, like 18 through 20 years old or whatever. It just really promotes a lot of that. But
Yeah.
it's a fun environment, and there's nothing like that. Nothing like being better than somebody, like just a stranger that signed up and playing for a little bit of money. It's really fun.
Yeah,
But
that's the same kind of thing that happened to me. Like Call of Duty kind of took over my life for a few years. I mean, I played a ridiculous amount, and I honestly didn't do a lot of Call of Duty tournaments. Really, I did some GBs, but I was more on the content side that it interests me the most. Like, I can't tell you how many times I started to dabble into kind of recording clips and then editing montages, and like once every year or something, I'd put out like a montage of all my clips and stuff. But like, there were always things that distracted me, and it's not that I can make an excuse for that. It's just I put those things more ahead of gaming. I really did, and I regret that. I really do. But like things like I would, basketball season would start or baseball season would start, or I got a girlfriend freshman year that I had the entire year, or the entire school. So there's like different types of things that I decided to put above these things, and I kind of wish that I hadn't. But then again, it is cool to look back. Like I did make some cool stuff, and I have some cool memories of gaming and lots of like competitive stuff. But like I played with some people that were now are so super successful, and it's like wow, that's really cool. But then at the same time, it's like well shit, it would have been cool to be like those people. Um, but at the same time, like I got my own glories, right? Like when I was like 14, I was grinding ladders on like Black Ops 1, and I was like top 10 CTF for like 2 months, and then like top 100 and a couple other ladders for a couple months as well. Like I took some games seriously in that manner. But um, the new Call of Duty's coming out, and Mitch and I are going pro. So that's that's a thing, like
and probably get
oh, I'm back. Sorry. That's the thing though. We're going pro. My computer had an aneurysm there real quick. I don't know why. Um, And yeah, we're gonna have to grind it. I'm gonna have to buy a PlayStation. Oh, trading PlayStation. Anybody want to trade an Xbox One for a PlayStation?
yeah. If anybody
Hit
wants
me
to
up.
make a trade,
Hit me
if
up.
anybody wants to make that trade,
But
be our
I think we
guest.
could still do it. Our reaction times might not be as good, and we're probably gonna be drunk more often. But that's fine. That's
I
fine.
think it's possible. I don't think like 22 and 21, 23 is a bad age to
No, it's
be
not.
doing it. Honestly,
We're
if
doing
we
it.
wanted to,
You're quitting your job.
I already did.
I just told them ahead of time that on the release date I'm quitting.
put my 4 months in.
But yeah, Call of Duty really is where I spent the vast majority of my time in the real what would it be 2003 to 2007, 2008
Yeah,
probably.
I played a lot of COD. Black Ops 1 was where I went to all my tournaments mostly. I started playing a ton of COD and Call of Duty 4 pretty much when multiplayer got really big and really popular for that with the creative class systems. I think that's really what pushed COD 4 to be so big. Was there was not that big of a difference. Just the fact that it was modern. It was the first time COD had done a modern shooter. It's the first time I think anybody had really done well with a modern shooter, first person shooter in a while. At least that was a big franchise. Like his Battlefield, Medal of Honor, Call of Duty were all sitting in like the World War II era for a long time. Um, but I think that's the reason it's so big. And then I went and played every COD since then, World at War, everything. I stopped after Advanced Warfare
Yeah,
after a while, but at the time I'd played every COD since COD 4. And
I
then
think it was like the first games that really took off with like they were the first ones who successfully do an online arena shooter, like in a sense, just with like interchanging maps. Like them and Halo were really the people
yeah.
that started to popularize that, and Call of Duty did it super super well.
It was
And
just really easily accessible to like anybody.
well,
Like
they started to
anybody
do
could make a badass.
they had a hosting system, right? Where they would just like, guy with the best internet gets the host and he's going to support you guys. And like,
Yeah.
it worked awesome, especially for the time when you've got half the lobbies on dial up and you've got one guy on Spectrum or
Yeah.
something that you can just piggyback off of. But
And that was a problem in my favorite game, which was Gears, where like host was like a thing. Like if you had host, like
it was a
you
thing
were
in Call of
straight
Duty
up-
too. I mean, it
Right,
wasn't
but
as much as Gears.
like you were just straight up at an advantage. Like you're doing probably twice as much damage with shotguns I was a huge Gears player. I played lots of Gears 1. It was like the first game I got on Xbox 360. And I was actually really bad at Gears 1. I was terrible, but I played it for like a year. And it just played it online because all you did in that game was play private games. There's like not even really matchmaking. Like if you match made it, just match made you into a private lobby pretty much that was or like a custom, I guess. Like everything was customs.
Right.
So I played customs for like a year and just got shit on by people that had like been playing for 2 years already. And then Gears 2 came out, and that's when I got like actually really good at Gears 2. So like I kind of was going through my process of getting good in Gears 2. So like started out really bad, ended at the very end I was like actually really good, and then Gears 3 was like my fucking game because like the entire time I was just like in my prime, like just killing it. Me and my friends did a lot of GBs. We didn't ever go to like any tournaments for that game like in person. We did some GB stuff, but other than that, that was probably my favorite like competitive game. Really, I just loved the community was really aggressive, but in the end it's always respectful. Like it was just like kind of like that playful shit talk rather than like in COD I feel like people actually hate each other.
Yeah, COD, they're like gonna actually drive by and throw a brick in your window.
Like people would still talk shit pretty hard in Gears, but after the game then everybody's cool as fuck with each other like every time pretty much. I never had too bad of experiences unless it was just in public matches.
Yeah.
But just like in Gears, just the fact that like if we finish a round out with and we 3v1 the last guy, just like the fact that you can rip his arm off and beat him with it and just have people teabagging him while you do it is just hilarious. And it's like it's the best feeling if you're playing somebody that you've got like that you like were shit talking, like I said. Just really satisfying to outplay somebody and then just do that.
Yeah, honestly, bro,
I've never played a game that gives me that feeling.
I was just in public chat in Call of Duty all the time, like just talking tons of shit. I was the 13, 14-year-old kid that everybody hated, you know? Like that was me. And then
gotta be.
Oh, you know a game I totally forgot about? Not competitive at all, but I grinded handheld games a lot. I was playing a ton of Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. So I played a shitload of Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon Red and Blue. I played, so the actual games I got out of those ones, I got Blue, and then I got Gold, and then I got Ruby. I didn't get Emerald. I got Pearl. I grinded the shit out of Pearl, and then I never really played much after that. But all those games I played probably, 150 hours plus into each, I would say. 300 or more into Pearl. I know that game I put a ton of time.
That's crazy.
Into. Yeah,
that's a lot. I put like 40 or 50.
But it's kind of one of those things where like I was sneaking, when Game Boy Advance had it out, I was sneaking playing Game Boy before bed every freaking night, dude.
Yeah,
every night I'm playing Game Boy for 2 hours before I go to sleep, right? Like that was the thing. So, those hours racked up quick. And sometimes I would like close it, to hide it, and I'd fall asleep with it turned on. So I'm racking up hours and shit like that. Like, there's
so many times I had to like hide watching like YouTube videos on my iPod Touch, like gaming videos.
Is that what they were? Gaming videos?
Gaming videos, yeah.
You were on Bebo looking up the Bebo stars.
Yeah.
By Space Stars.
Watch the Tracer cosplays.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, just like definitely playing PSP or Game Boy. I played quite a bit of Game Boy. Played, what was I thinking of right before you started saying Game Boy?
PSP and their amazing formation of their game cartridges.
Monster Hunter on PSP. I definitely put like over 100 hours of Monster Hunter at PSP. It was a good game.
Yeah, I never really played it.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 12 I beat multiple times, but other than that. But yeah, and then after Call of Duty, League of Legends comes, baby. Oh boy. This is the turn of an era. Adam gets a personal PC, a personal computer. And I literally touch consoles a couple times a year for like the next 6 years. Like I've been playing League since season 3, which would be 6 years. 7 years. Probably more like 7 years. Season 9's coming close to.
I played League for like 3 years or 4 years. And then
played World of Warcraft as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I played WoW for like 3 years.
A few years of WoW. It would be Burning Crusade, Cataclysm, Miss Pandaria. This is when I played WoW.
Yeah, I played vanilla for like 6 months or a year. Played Burning Crusade. And
All
then
hail
for 2 years,
Kuchorz, the vanilla WoW
played
player.
played Burning Crusade for 2 years, and then Wrath for like 6 months, and then stopped. And then I was just about to say that I feel like you and I both have so much shit we've played and done in gaming that it's hard to cover all of it. It's almost something we just have to cover as we go a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I played WoW.
I've missed a lot of stuff, actually.
I have too.
I know I've missed a lot of stuff.
Final Fantasy 14. Like I'm a huge Gears player. I'd like to say.
Did you ever play Fiesta? Do you ever know the game Fiesta? It's an MMO. It's like really cartoony.
No.
I put like 120 hours into that game too. So it's like it comes to the point where it's just like, are we gonna mention every single game that we've put 3-digit hours into or 20 plus hours into?
Yeah.
You know, because
how do you put 120 hours into Fiesta but not Warframe?
Because I was a kid and Fiesta was the shit, bro. If you never played that, like at the time when it came out, it was just so alluring to me. It was just like the super anime MMO that had like a pretty simple skill based setup that like when I was 10, 12 years old, I could understand super well. And it was just like, it just caught me. It just caught me. And I could set up a shop, like a little mushroom shop while I was sleeping that would sell shit for me. And I'd come back and it would tell me how much I sold.
This looks exactly like Fliff.
Well, that sounds stupid. Whatever Fliff is. That's the worst name ever.
Fliff. F-L.
It was like Maple Story, but in an MMO, like open world form, right?
Dude, it looks exactly like Fliff. I'm not kidding. Fliff was Fly for Fun, is what it stood for.
Oh.
And like it was an MMO that looks exactly like this game you just told me about, except it was very based around the mounts, like the flying mounts you could get.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed the game. It was like you could just go to this tower and just go through floors and you could fight, or there would do open world stuff, and the world was pretty decent size. It wasn't super buggy. The community was cool as shit. I enjoyed it. I played a lot of that game when I was young. But that was like super early on MMO and early gaming. But yeah, WoW and League of Legends. And honestly, I wasn't super serious about League the first couple of years, and then I quit playing traditional sports in high school shortly after I stopped playing League. And then League has honestly kind of taken that place for me. I don't play as much as I used to. I do still play some, but I watch a shitload, and I enjoy esports. Like League was my bridge into esports and professional gaming. We did, we can talk about our small stint into having an organization that didn't go super well. I especially like myself and Christian especially put a lot of time into our starting up an organization, and we ended up kind of learning a lot of things along the way. Did things kind of backwards and decided to kind of back up because we were in school and stuff. And so like that kind of the intro of esports has been awesome, and like kind of just being involved in that and like doing some coaching here and there and like actually just playing with people who care to win. Like this, like playing competitive tournaments or playing around these people and like smashing people with a buddy is just like the fucking best. I mean,
yeah, dude.
Like there's nothing better than just like when we went to Gamers for Giving and stuff too. I don't think you went to Gamers for Giving with us, but stuff like that, like any sort of LAN events are just like so thrilling to win, So
or there's exhilarating. I just like the atmosphere, just being there.
Yeah,
how smelly people are.
Yeah, gamers stink. Not all gamers. That's what this is about. We are promoting gamer hygiene. This is and stud by day, game by night. Stud by day, game by night.
There we go.
Let's go.
Next sponsor.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's awesome though. I mean, like you said, it's just being around people like-minded when you get into a competitive environment. Like with Gears, there's 1 or 2 of my friends that were actually decent, and then of course you have those friends that are actually like they just have that raw talent and they're just sick at the game, but they absolutely have no mindset to be competitive.
Yeah,
they can pull off these like sick 1v2s or 1v3s, but when it comes down to a pro match or something, or just even a tournament, like if you had to do anything, you're not able to think through that process.
Yeah.
And so it's nice when you actually get into a match or you just find random people on game battles or just on the internet that can actually think to that same level as you, were that like click, like that same stuff clicks with them, the same strategies and stuff, the same pushes, and you just kind of like refreshed by it for sure.
For sure. And I think like there's only been, I think that's why you always hear people like they're talking about playing sports in high school their entire lives because those were some of the highest adrenaline moments that they ever had, right? Like that's why people talk about this. Like when you think of someone who peaked in high school, right? It's like the dad who's got the Beaverton Beavers sweatshirt on, or this kind of stuff. Like this is like these are the people that they had so much adrenaline pump by winning sports and stuff that's what they bring up. So it's like I had the same thing with gaming. Like I played basketball and stuff and had that experience, but I also played games, and I would argue the gaming one was better because I cared more about gaming. I think honestly, when it comes down to it, like I've cared way more about my League of Legends and Call of Duty time than I have about probably anything competitive or recreational that I've done in the past in my life. So
yeah, and it's some of the stuff like definitely. When you're starting to be good of like part of my COD team at the time, like when you're starting to be part of a good team like that, it feels really just good, really cohesive, and like it feels like you're part of something for sure. That's like I was really good at football. I played basketball and stuff too, but like you said, I just don't think I cared enough. Like it was cool, but at the end it was like high school, whereas gaming realistically it could have been a long-term career as far as like the professional scene. Who knows like where that can still go even,
right.
and that's something that I had always kind of thought in the back of my head is like it's something I've loved since I was 5. So I loved gaming first, and I feel like I'm going to love it longer, which is actually still true now to this day. Now that I'm not in high school and I'm out of college and everything, like I still love gaming, and I don't really care to go play sports as much anymore. I just don't have the motivation to as much, or the drive to. It doesn't, not because of the physical activity. I just don't have the willingness to compete.
It's just
people.
Yeah, it's just like it's like a men's league or something like that at that point too.
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting to me too is like I know for a fact that if I have kids, it's going to be this like, oh, if I was born 10 years later, I could have got a scholarship to play League of Legends, and it would have been over from there. I would have went pro and all this shit. That's what we're going to be telling each other when we're older, is like pissed off that we're not playing Call of Duty when we're 30.
That's the thing, is there's still ways to make it, or ways to like make this something that you can do as your passion without doing that. It's just different ways right now for us
100%
in the future.
And like that's still a goal of mine, right? Like I would love to find a way to make it a passion. It's just is playing likely going to be a thing? No. I've kind of let the old pro player ship sail. Like that one's gone.
When COD comes out.
Except for when this COD comes out.
This November, be there.
Honestly, yeah. I'm going pro. Doing it for 1 year, getting signed, getting famous, then quitting it all just to prove it. Just to prove I could do it.
Then we'll be back to podcast.
Exactly. Wavelength episode 2 will be in 1 year.
2020. 2020.
Yeah, but
yeah. We'll
honestly,
podcast after our scrims on Sunday.
we got a 3 block that we're doing here, so I don't know. It's gonna be a 12-hour shift, but no, honestly, like Call of Duty and Halo kind of just altered my mindset about gaming altogether, and like those games are the ones that kind of move me towards like having a competitive and like a real life mindset towards gaming rather than just like hey, it's a hobby that's gonna pass. Like I grew up in a pretty small town.
I feel like we still could put the time into COD and kill it.
I think we could too.
That's like what's kind of scary and exciting. So like,
we're doing it, dude.
I haven't played COD on console.
I want to take like a solid 2 months to learn the PlayStation controller, and then like 2 months to learn the PlayStation controller and get good at COD. Play like a couple weeks on a prior Call of Duty, and then we'll play a month of the new Call of Duty just for fun. And we'll have a ton of fun. And then if we feel like we'll
have a ton of fun. I promise.
If we feel like we're tipping over the edge, we're playing wager matches and shit all online, no matter what. Absolutely. We're going to smash some kids out of San Francisco and take their money. Yeah, for sure. All right, that's gonna pay rent.
We're paying rent.
Yeah.
Pay rent with wagers
off of Call of Duty money, baby. But they don't have any yet. I haven't seen any yet.
I know.
But I heard new engine. I heard potentially longer than 1 year.
Yeah, which means we'll be pro for longer than a year if we're really good at this game.
Hell yeah, dude. Longevity. That's what we're here for. They better give me a 401k when they sign me to Cloud9, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Hey guys, when you watch this podcast, when you watch this podcast in like what, like 6 months, is that when we'll be pro?
Maybe a year. We'll give it a year.
8 months. We'll say a year.
Yeah.
Told you so. Told you so.
They knew all along.
They're mind blown, dude. They're mind blown. But
yeah, for sure. But
it's a package deal.
Yeah, that's kind of my history in gaming for the most part.
Honestly, we want to tackle it and go over history.
I don't want to go over every single game, right? Like I don't want to go into detail with every single game. As we talk and as we go through things are going to come up. It'll get extravagated on. This is kind of like
don't even remember every detail that needs to get covered.
This was kind of the filler arc for this. That's kind of what this was, you know. You got to read the diary for a minute.
Yeah.
But
we're from Michigan. That's a thing.
That's a thing. Detroit, baby. Detroit's where it's at. Yeah. City of dreams and wonders.
But yeah, we can go over some topics here at the end too.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Essentially. So like I guess like you were saying, if you were to go through let's pick our favorite game from each console that we played growing up.
Favorite game each console. I can do that. I'm going to skip the NES because I only played one game on the NES.
What was it?
Sonic. For NES.
There it is.
Or the Sega. I'm sorry, not the NES. Sega.
Yeah, that's.
And then NES. So Sonic off Sega. You played Sega, so what was yours? I suppose.
I'd have to say it's Sonic. Just honestly, because that's the only I can remember the most.
Probably the best one.
Only other games I can remember really are like Spider-Man and like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and a Earthworm Jim.
And then NES I did play as well, and I'd have to probably just say Super Mario, side-scroll Super Mario. I played a lot of that. That was kind of my intro to platformer in general.
And then Nintendo 64 for me. I think I'm gonna have to settle on GoldenEye. This is the final. It's the final.
The verdict, one might say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely is Ocarina of Time, Zelda Ocarina of Time for me. I think Super Smash Bros. Would be a close second just because of the amount of time I put on the game. But I think I have to go with Ocarina of Time. What was the next one? PlayStation 1?
I think we're both saying Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7, yeah.
And then original Xbox.
Halo 2.
Yeah.
Halo 2.
Tons of that.
Yeah.
360, I will have to say.
You missed GameCube.
I didn't really play. I had. Dude, the only game.
Shame on you.
The only game I really played for GameCube was like Tales of Symphonia.
I played a lot of Tales. It was cool. Super cool
games. There's tons of
Tales games. Yeah.
But I played Tales of Symphonia. That's the one I played the most of.
I would have to say Super Smash Bros. Melee or Sonic Adventure Battle 2, bro. I raised some of the dopest chows. Like, and you could fight them, and you would like gather like capsules, different colored capsules, and then mini animals, and you'd feed them to your chow, and based on the capsules and the animals you fed him, he would transform into a different type of shit.
Actually, my favorite GameCube game is Double Dash. Mario Kart Double Dash, for sure. Ooh. That's the one I played the most of that. I never owned that game, but I definitely played so much of it at just all my friends' houses. So Double Dash, definitely.
Xbox 360.
Yeah, mine's definitely Gears of War 3. For sure. It was just like one of those sequels you get in a shooter that just like feels so right and so polished. Like you just feel like you finally made it. You know what I mean? Like where Gears 1, like, oh, this is bad, or like this can be fixed. Like Gears 1 was really, really good though.
Epic
Gears
2
was a shit show. Gears 2 was so bad. Like, but it's where I got good. So
yeah,
it's kind of like
training
some people with like Halo Reach, you know, like Reach, like everybody's like, oh, you're a Reach kid because you got good in the Reach days when everybody stopped giving a fuck. Like, but then Gears 3 was amazing, and like I was good by the time that hit, and it was like so polished. Like the shotgun felt perfect. It like wasn't as strong as 1, but wasn't as weak as 2, and like the movement was perfect. So couldn't be. And the storyline was good if you care about that, which I don't really. But like that was back in the day when I actually liked those games so much, like that I would 100% get every single achievement, and then my friends would play. Dude, I miss back in the days, like when we do like some co-op playthroughs. I remember doing those like co-op playthroughs in Gears, like 4-player co-op campaign, and we did those in Halo to get all the skulls, played on Legendary, like all that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I miss doing stuff like that where you used to like care about achievements kind of because they'd get you skins. Like I remember you'd get skins from Halo's skulls. You'd get armor pieces like Hayabusa and stuff in Halo
Yeah.
3.
Halo 3, I grinded all the skulls. I did all the skull things. I would actually go over to I went over to like 2 of my friends' houses just to get all their
Help them
skulls
out,
for
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
helped do with skulls too.
I would have to say Halo 3 is probably my pick for the 360, but I say that very hesitantly over Black Ops 1. Like Black Ops 1 for me was like the breakthrough Call of Duty where I was just like I went fucking Super Saiyan in that game, and I like felt just the power, and I loved that game so much. Like I have never enjoyed a Call of Duty more, and I enjoyed a lot of Call of Duty, so it's hard to not put that in there.
Which one
But
was that? Black Ops 1 or 2?
Black Ops 1, I played so much Black Ops 1.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
I thought the game was gonna blow, dude, and it ended up being one of my favorites.
It didn't look as good. It did not look as good as the other Call of Duties, but it played like a beast. Like I loved it.
Dude, like something I noticed and I still like say to this day is when I first got on that game, on release day, saying to my friends like the hit markers feel so heavy in that game. Like that's why I liked it. Is
the time to kill was a lot higher too.
Just like those hit markers, they just slammed. Whenever you hit people, it just felt heavy and just satisfying.
And the time to kill was pretty high, and the maps were fucking great. Yeah. The maps were great. There were some great maps in that game. That's where Slums is from.
Time to kill, close range, like Slums is Black Ops 2. But
it's
still really good.
Slums is remade. Oh, it is Black Ops 2. You're right.
Yeah. But there's like firing range and summit.
Yeah, firing range and summit are fantastic. Honestly, I enjoy the game a lot, and that's probably where I moved away from sniping for the first time, because Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, or Modern Warfare 2. Sorry, Modern Warfare 3 was after Black Ops 1. Modern Warfare 2, I literally was playing the intervention only. That's the only thing I played on that game. It was nothing but the intervention. And then when I got to Black Ops 1, I just said, screw this, I'm gonna grind hard, and I went for KDA player and playing regular guns and playing GBs and stuff like that. So like that game was just super fun for me.
Yeah.
But next would be PlayStation 3. We can do that, right?
PlayStation 3.
I did not play the PS3. So what's your favorite PS3 game?
Resistance. My favorite game for it. I mean, I don't think this counts, but The Last of Us. I played it on PS4 remastered, and so it's actually my favorite PS4 game as well. But
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. No, but if it's my favorite PS3 game, then I'll pick that remastered, because I have other PS4 games I like a lot as well.
Yeah, so. Fair enough. Xbox One, honestly, I've owned the console for years, and I put really, really low amount of time onto it. I don't have any games that I've played on it that I've really, really, really loved, except honestly, my favorite game that I actually played on, it's going to sound ridiculous, was probably Ori and the Blind Forest. That's like the most fun I've had on my Xbox, is playing through that game.
Not even an exclusive.
Nope, not even an exclusive. I played some Call of Duty on it, but I started playing Call of Duty on PC.
Not even an exclusive.
I had The Witcher, but it sat in the packaging for 6 months, and I think I sold it.
That's not good.
That's not good at all. Not good at all. But yeah, and then now we're on PC.
Xbox One, my favorite Xbox One exclusive, by process of elimination, is probably just like Gears.
A new Gears or Halo game.
Gears 4 or Halo 5.
Halo 5.
Because
I did play a decent amount of Halo 5. I guess we shredded on Halo 5 for a minute there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we were Diamond or Onyx or whatever the fuck the best is, because that's what we are.
The best.
That's what we are at console FPS games, but not PC.
Not PC. Fuck, I can barely hold like a 1.5 KDA in PC FPS games.
Yeah. We're good at console though. We've got the legendary statuses.
The sticks are one with my soul.
Consoles, we gotta get on there and prove it.
Yeah.
Once I get the Elgato audio working.
Bro, I got my Elgato in a box somewhere. It'll be dusted off, rocking and rolling here soon.
Gotta get the COD grind going, man.
COD grind. We are at a little over, or about actually right at an hour, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably.
Yeah, and then my favorite PS4 game.
PS4.
Exclusive.
I've yet to play any PS4, so that's all you.
Yeah.
Been just on PC since then.
I feel like it has to be an exclusive, probably.
Kinda
Right?
does. Otherwise, it's lame. Final Fantasy.
Yeah. No. What?
God of War.
I thought about it.
It's got to be God of War.
I think so. I can't think of any other. I think it's either that or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I would pick The Last of Us, like I said, but that's technically a PS3 game that's just been remastered because the storyline is just off the wall awesome. But the Spider-Man is really good. But yeah, I think God of War is definitely my favorite overall. I'm just a huge Spider-Man fan, and I'll eat up anything Spider-Man, so it doesn't really count. I'm not a huge God of War fan, but I did play God of War and I loved it. So that's why it was crazy.
I didn't even play it, but I watched like
didn't play
most
it.
of it.
I didn't play it as a God of War game though. I just played it as a game. Just played it as like an action RPG and just enjoyed the fuck out of it. So
Right.
like that's what I think is cool about that game is with the way they did it. You don't really have to know anything or even appreciate Kratos as a character. I mean, it helps. I think it helps. I think there's a lot of emotional story moments that will really help if you do understand the previous games. I didn't really get the effect that a lot of people did from those moments, but
Right.
it's still a badass game. It still looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even play the
it might
game.
be the best looking game out right now still, and not even talking about PC games. And that's like some PS4 games. I think PC is definitely a better looking system, always hands down. But like, there's some PS4 games just the way they're optimized and the way they look. You're just like, damn. Like,
Well,
if it was on PC, of course it'd look better.
yeah, you're always saying better than what most consumers pay for PCs, right? So like under $1,500 kind of thing, under $1,000.
No, I'm just saying like since it's not on PC, like that God of War on PS4 looks better than a lot of games that are on PC.
Yeah,
Like most games that are on PC. And I even think that about Red Dead 2. Like Red Dead 2 is not an exclusive game to only PS4, but like that looks better than most PC games do on Ultra.
Yeah.
It's not because PCs aren't strong. It's just
well, there's certain games
because
like
of where those games are at.
even
it's not a diss on PC at all. Like in a lot of
even Black Ops 4, looks better on console than it does on PC because it's just made for console, right? Like they kind of exported it to PC.
Definitely. Yeah, some stuff just doesn't look right when it's transferred.
Yeah,
transferred over. But
got anything else on the consoles you want to touch on, or?
That's about it. I mean, you and I both pretty much grew up on video games, grew up on consoles of all sorts, and we're not too loyal to just one. So I mean, that's something that's important to know going forward too. I think is that we're not just like brand loyal necessarily when it comes to gaming, just because we both appreciate and understand gaming so much that like I very well can love Xbox, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo all at the same time if they all merit that love. If they're all doing well at the same time, I'll love them all. But like right now, like Xbox, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I have been my whole life. So like I'm maybe I will be a huge fan of them next year again. Who knows? Like it's always changing, but we're always very unbiased about stuff.
Yeah,
just because of our backgrounds on that.
And I think like we do kind of like tend to be more towards the competitive side of any games that we play, but like it's nice that we both had a lot of delving into RPGs and MMOs and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a lot of people that were like, oh, I grew up playing Halo and Call of Duty my whole life, and that's kind of it. But it's nice. Like we've played some very classic Nintendo games and lots of Nintendo games, and
but that's
Blizzard
the thing also is
stuff,
like
so.
When we say we grew up playing like Halo and Call of Duty, some people played the campaign over and over on normal, and like we're never like that, and we never have been like that in games. When we play them, we're usually playing them to get better, and if we're not getting better, then we probably quit or aren't playing it anymore, or something we like.
That's never happened. So
we both have the mindset where it's just like we are going to continue to get better at this game, and if we aren't, I'm wasting my time playing it. And, and even games that we understand, I'm not going to go pro in this, but of course we want to do our best. Like we want to do our best for ourselves. Rather, it's not for anybody else. So we're just both competitive people.
Yeah, so. I think every season I still put 100 hours into League, and it's like I'm not going pro. It's just I really enjoy playing League. Or like, there's these games that come out that are the same way.
Yeah, a prime example is you and I were playing Guild Wars for like 3 weeks or so or a month, and Guild Wars 2. And we were playing PvP and we are going pretty hard. Like whenever we play, we'd try pretty hard and just stomp people. But we don't plan on going pro in Guild Wars 2 or anything. But I was still looking up videos on like PvP, just tips and stuff like that, just to try and get better because why not? Like
we were stomping people too, man. Oh boy,
yeah.
The old Cleave Flame cleric that I had going there.
What would you say before we stop? What would you say you're out of? Now that we've gone over, like, I guess it's kind of self-explanatory that. But what would you say your favorite genre is? Like, if you could have the perfect game of this genre, like, what would your favorite genre be? Like, if you could have the perfect game of any genre, what would it be for you to play, like the rest of your life?
I think something like what League of Legends has going is probably the future of competitive gaming and esports, and I think that's probably my favorite genre. I don't think the state of I don't think the state of the MOBA right now is the best state that it's going to be in, but I think MOBA would have to be my favorite genre because I think that MOBA is going to be the future, like when like VR takes over really heavy and things like that. Like I think it's going to be like people in the stands. You have like a projected image of a MOBA battlefield and you're watching things fight. Like I think that's probably where we get to in 100 years, right? And so I would probably have to say MOBA because that's where my interest in gaming the most lies is in the competitive side of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Nor the sound of the air conditioning turning on. But the thing with me is League of Legends, to me, has taken the place of a sport. It has so much depth, so much strategy, so much about like, you got to put pressure here. And if there's pressure here, that means they don't have as much pressure here because you have a certain amount of players, certain amount of resources. And the power creep in the game to me is great. So that like, if you punish your opponent and you get ahead, you are genuinely stronger. It's not just like, oh, he's more tired or like he's demoralized, right? I really enjoy these things. And I think that I think the game mode like opened up just competitive gaming to me in a whole new way, in a way that's like could have a whole like coaching structure behind it and staff behind it and things like that, and that's just why I've enjoyed it so much, I think.
See, if I could have like the perfect game genre, I think that like to play the rest, like if this game was perfect, like and just kept getting updates and stuff, I would play it endlessly. It would be like a really good MMO for sure.
I guess I would have to say that if you had like an infinite content, infinite MMO, and it was super high immersive. If I had a VR MMO that was high level.
I don't mean like
the future
perspective of like, oh, it's gonna end like be endless.
Yeah.
Like I mean just maybe like a good MMO that will last me like because like a good MOBA like League, it'll last 10 years. Like I want a good
the day I can put a headset on and put on a suit that knows me and I can do like a Ready Player One thing and do a VR world MMO. You'll never see me again.
No,
I'll be showering once a day.
I mean, like right now, like
right, yeah.
Like right now, where the game is good as fuck. Like it just looks good. It's stylized well. It has cool lore, just cool atmosphere, big player base, a ton of stuff to do. Not artificially, but like actually a ton of stuff to do. Where it's actually good content. The PvP is bomb as fuck. So like you have no reason to even want to go play a PvP only game or a MOBA. Like you have it right there in that game, but when you're sick and tired of it, you're pissed or salty, you can actually go run a dungeon or go level. Like if you can, like that's what I think MMOs are so entertaining is like, or just the idea of it is so cool is that it should be a game where everything is all in one place and where like you don't have to leave to go to a different game because it's all right here. Like it's all right here for you. Like shit, if you don't want to do anything, you can go fish or cook or like,
right.
It should have that kind of stuff in it. And like if you want to just chat with your stream or if you want to just care about getting a mount, you can do that. Or if you want to recruit or make a guild, you can do it. Like or just things that I haven't thought of or nobody's even thought of yet that could scratch the surface of making it like all in one game.
It's just interesting to me, like, do you think that there's another MMO that comes out that kind of pulls the World of Warcraft Final Fantasy crowd and like takes over and blasts off the way like WoW did back in the day?
I think eventually, but I don't think anytime soon.
I just don't know. Like the genre of MMO seems to me that it's just gonna kind of be about where it's at right now until higher technologies come into play. And
then I agree. That's what
I'm
saying.
It'll blast off.
The technology to do what it really wants to, because it's built. I think of it as like it's essentially MMOs are being built in game engines or being built with tools that are used for small scale things.
Yeah.
It's like it's like trying to build a planet with like a program that's only used to build a building. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's how I metaphorically picture MMO game development. Like, you can't build a world with like fucking hammer and some nails. You know
when you've gotta design every single.
You gotta have
like
the tools. And,
like what you were saying, like what Minecraft has access to, the procedural generation and stuff like that, right? Like that's a world where all of a sudden MMOs are fucking massive, and you can have all this extra stuff. Because the problem is that if you have a designer going in and creating every single tile, it's like, what do you gonna have people just doing tile work for fucking 50 years, you know? Like you're gonna there's too much to do for man.
It can't be like, I'm not saying it has to be that, like, I'm not saying it has to be massive. I don't think size is too important.
Well, I mean, like even the content within the game, like having like, say you had New York City with unique 9 million characters in the game generated by your actual system that can actually handle it, which is like no one's right now, right? Like these things just are gonna hold it back.
I think that it just needs to be large scale. Like, I mean, like a Blizzard team or something. Like all these companies that are making MMOs right now are usually Kickstarters. Like even, whatever it's called, Star Citizen coming out. Like that's a Kickstarter, and it's one of the biggest MMOs, or like one of the most ambitious MMOs in the history of gaming.
Yeah,
and like it's just because the genre doesn't have the support right now.
It doesn't make as much money as other genres, so the big companies are there for a reason. They do the thing that makes the most money.
I don't think MMOs are dead. I think they're just in a different spot right now. Like Destiny's huge, Division's huge. Those aren't MMOs necessarily, but there's still audiences that are playing games like that. So obviously MMOs aren't dead, you know?
Right.
I mean, like the traditional sense, like WoW and Final Fantasy are there.
I think honestly,
they're still thriving decently. Honestly.
I think the problem with MMOs is that the average gamer is just not dedicating as much time, especially as not large sessions, as they used to. Right? Like people complain about League games being too long when they're 30 to 45 minutes. But like, if you're going to do anything worth your time in World of Warcraft, it's an hour and a half or more, right? Yeah. Like, if you're going to go on a raid, that's your whole afternoon. Like, you're taking like 6 hours to like take out of your life, right? Like, and I think that there's just not as many people that are willing to dedicate that amount of time and resources to gaming as much.
Definitely not. It's a whole different thing. It's like a different job. It's like another job almost sometimes. But I don't know why I like that. I like grinding away in games and then get it. I like those big payoffs of getting like a drop that you want. Or
yeah, but I would say the vast majority of times in my life, I haven't had time to truly dedicate to those types of games as much as I would have if I, or should have, I guess, to experience it the way I should.
Yeah. No, you definitely have to. But yeah, it looks like we're all wrapped up for the week. We'll be streaming the podcast again next week, Sunday at 7 p.m. EST, hopefully.
7 p.m. That's what we're planning on.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, everybody who watched.
I will as well put my Twitter in here as well. If you guys come up with any cool ideas or anything that anybody would want to see, DM me or tweet me. We'll make it happen. But otherwise, appreciate everybody stopping in. And we got some new UI. Yeah. We need to get some original stuff, but we've got some template stuff for now, so it works. But
we've made it. We've made it work a little bit.
We've made it work. But alrighty, Wavelength Podcast, episode 1, officially over. Thanks. Peace out.
Later.